I teased this last break, and I want to jump into this right now. I don't know that we'll talk about this a ton, but 2 words came up in a meditation for me this week that just, man, it was I don't know, just like transformative. My life changed, but it was very helpful. So I want to share that with you. I want to share that with you as just a way of like, this came up for me. It was helpful for me. Maybe it's helpful for you. Maybe it's helpful for some dude that's listening right now, or maybe it's not, but I'm going to share it anyway because I'm the host of the show and I can. So as I learned from you a couple of months ago, was this idea of setting an intention every day. I love that. I put it on my phone. I see it literally every day. It's so good. So good. I even download an app that it's on my home screen whenever I need to see it in the middle of the day. A little intention. So when I started doing that, my intentions were way too verbose. It was like, today I will be a strong force and yada, yada. And it was like, and then I had this thought a couple of weeks ago, the shorter I make it, the more impactful it is. So in an economy of words, if I can set an intention that resets me throughout the day, that would be great. Like my intention yesterday was trust the process. 222. Okay. It was great.
That's 222. That's my number.
So earlier this week, or maybe it was last week, sometime in the last 2 weeks, as I do, I meditate in the morning and I set the intention when I come out of the meditation of just whatever's there. And these 2 words came up that really just, I don't know, man, it was really powerful. And the 2 words are think bigger.
Okay.
So where that showed up for me as a guy, and I know as dudes, we're all guilty of this, is that we're fixers. So we tend to over-index on these little moments. Like, I got to fix this thing in my life or my house or my wife or my relationship or my work or whatever. I got to fix it. I got to get into it and fix it. And we have this thing, at least I have this thing, where my ego starts going and over-indexing on a thing. Just might be a work thing, or I got a bill to pay or whatever. And I started this day where I was just like, think bigger. Okay. So an hour later, something came up. I don't remember what it was, but I'm going to use this as an example. I had a bill to pay. This may not have been right, but follow me here. I had a bill to pay. And I was like, oh, man, I got to pay this bill. I owe Duke Energy a lot of money, or a credit card or whatever. And instead of allowing myself to get transformed in a negative way of fear, scarcity, whatever, I flipped it on its head and went, think bigger. And I'm like, oh, well, then that'll be easy. Think bigger. And I kept pushing myself to do that. Like, well, if that's true, think bigger. And bro, like, I started thinking about one of the areas where this showed up was like my clients. And I was like, oh, well, I can only have so many clients. Think bigger. And I was like, all right, well, what would it look like if I had even more clients? Think bigger. And I was like, oh, okay. And it really, dude, it started to unlock me for how I think and how I, as we all do, just get consumed sometimes by these little moments that seem to suck us down, fear, scarcity, regret, whatever. And I was just like, but what happened if you turn it on its head and what if it works out great? What if, which we've talked about before, but I was just like, what if I just apply those 2 words to all these different situations in my life? And I go, yeah, but you know what, Michael Jark, think bigger. And it was pretty friggin' cool that it started to unlock me in moments where I was like, okay, well, let's see what would happen. And I've noticed, and as I started to say all this out loud, this was probably 10 days ago. So we could have talked about this last week and I forgot.
Hey, listen, we're right where we need to be, man.
We're right where we need to be. That just over the course of the last week and a half, there have been a lot of instances where a couple that have come up at work where I was like, okay, just think bigger, dude. And it opened up conversations with clients or with my boss, the owner of the company. As I apply it to my relationship with my wife, it's like every time I would think about, and this was so true, is I'd be in my head thinking about a conversation I would need to have with my wife, and I would immediately go down a very well-worn pathway, a neural pathway of this is going to end, poorly, or we're going to have this, fight or whatever. And I was like, but what if I think bigger? And it just transformed it to where now the conversation was filled with hope. It was filled with possibility. And it was pretty powerful, dude.
Yeah, that, I mean,
2 words, think bigger.
anytime, not only is it powerful, but man, does it sometimes when you get it right, it hits you right in the feels. And
Oh, yeah.
that's those moments that you'll never forget, where you get like the tingles when you hear a song that just ignites your body.
Yes.
It's no coincidence that you're feeling that right now. What is happening astrologically, it's called the Lion's Gate.
Oh, 888.
Yeah, so what that means is the way the energy and radiation is now hitting the Earth because of our Schumann resonance, or whatever that is called, where it is the resonance of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's a perfect combination for what's called the Lion's Gate. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's literally the invitation to step into a version of you that is going to collapse a lot of timelines that are in between you and your higher self, if you so choose to take the step. Just by saying think bigger, you're already allowing your consciousness to go to a place that has not been for whoever knows how long.
Right.
So like I said, it's no coincidence. And the more you do this during this Lionsgate period, the more you'll notice that things will start to happen for you. May not be things like, massive amounts of wealth, but things in your life will start to happen that are going to trigger a domino effect to a place where I guarantee you never thought possible. It's one of those things that when people write about it after they've experienced, they always say, I never imagined I could do or be this. And all they did, it was effortless. All they did was accept that they can now be this other person. And that's it.
Yeah. Well, I think what I've experienced over the course of the last 10 days as I've think bigger to my life is seeing the possibility. Like the example I used a minute ago was just real life experience. My wife is going on a business trip, and I started, oh man, she's going to go on this trip and she's going to spend a lot of money. And I started and I was just like, well, no, think bigger. Think bigger. And what presented to me in that moment was all the possibilities of how that conversation can be so much more robust. And it wasn't about this scarcity mindset of like, she's going to spend a lot of money and she's going to go over there and blah, 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 blah. No, it's like, well, what if the possibility exists that never happens? What if she goes and spends money? And here's what I'll say about my wife really quick. She does not realize the power she has. She does not realize.
Most women don't.
She does not. She is like, it's incredible to watch. She's a travel advisor. And I've observed in her recently where she will say something like, man, I really wish I could get, a client who wants to stay at a Four Seasons because the commissions would be higher, et cetera. It sure would be good to have that, or I wish I could get that, or something like that. And then like a few days later, she'd be like, I just got a call from this person who knew this person who recommended me, and they want to stay at this 5-star resort or some, Four Seasons or something with like a $15,000 or $20,000 trip. And I'm like, dear, you kind of spoke that into existence. Mm-hmm. And like the other day it happened where she was like, yeah, it'd be so cool if I got like a big group booking. And dude, last night she got a lead on like a 30 group book in Cancun or something.
For her.
And I just was so like, girl, you don't even know the power you have. I'm in awe of that. Yeah. So for me, it was just like, I could go down some road of just like, oh, we're just going to have some repeat of a conversation. But like I said a month ago, I am not who I was. And if I'm truly trying to be a different person and a better person, then just think bigger, man.
Yeah. And
see all the possibilities.
Don't forget, though, to stop and tell yourself that you're appreciative of those negative thoughts.
Yeah.
Because if it wasn't for those negative thoughts, you wouldn't be able to step into somebody bigger,
Yeah. They have is pain in the ass, and as a son of a bitch as they are, those negative thoughts, is they allow for perspective. Mm-hmm. That without that, you sometimes can't see the good or the possibility or the collapsing of timelines that's potential there, because if you don't have the negative thought, then the positive can't present it. There's a white to the black. And
you got to be aware. You can go through life not being aware. Hell, dude, I was unaware of my own thoughts for well into my late 20s, even probably I'd say early 30s. But if you could be aware every once in a while and just stop, and like you said, those negative thoughts, man, they're the doorway that you can step into and be like, oh, I'm gonna just tweak this little thing about myself, whether it's your mindset or, like you said, not your wife wants to fight, and instead of fighting her, you just go, okay, I love you, and you know what, we'll figure it out. We've always figured it out. That's what makes us a great team. And all of a sudden now you both are on this new timeline.
Oh yeah.
You're both going to a new place, and that the ripple effect of that into the community, your children, it shows, and science now backs all that up.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.